On Thursday, November 21st, 1968, 94 black students at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh made the conscious decision to put their college careers on the line and participate in a demonstration for social justice aimed at improving diversity and a more inclusive campus environment. The demonstration resulted in all 94 students being arrested, jailed, and expelled from the university. I was one of those 94 students, and that life-changing event will always, inextricably, be a part of the history of diversity for the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. Now, diversity is an interesting word. It's been my experience that it means different things to different people. Recently, at a national diversity conference, the presenter was trying to get the audience to define the word diversity. And a man in the rear of the room raised his hand and said, "Diversity is a code word for race and gender. If you don't want to use those words, you just insert diversity." And the presenter said, "No, race and gender are a part of the definition, but not all of it." The presenter went on to define diversity as any difference that can make a difference. Now, that's a fairly simplistic but a very inclusive definition of diversity. Any difference that can make a difference. And we know in a multicultural society, there are lots of differences that can make a difference. In fact, sociology suggests to us that there are three primary diversity factors. They are age, race, and gender. Why are they called primary? Because we can see them, and they're the first three things that we notice about an individual. Their age, race, and gender. So, if by now you have not noticed that I'm a black male, please let us know. We can get you some help, all right? But one way to analyze difference is to quantify it, to see statistically if difference makes a difference. Now, there are three demographic megatrends that are changing the face of the United States today. They are race, immigration, and new cultural influences. Starting with race, perhaps the most divisive force in our society. In 2015, for the first time in this nation, there were more babies of color born than white babies. National demographers suggest by the year 2050, better than 90% of U.S. population growth will come from communities of color. Today, not tomorrow, today, 48 of the nation's 100 largest cities are already minority majority. Several states are minority majority. They include such political powerhouse states as Texas, California, and soon Florida. Now, if you follow politics, think about the mathematical implications of that on the electoral college system that we use to elect the President of the United States. That's megatrend number one. Megatrend number two is immigration. Immigration to the U.S. has tripled in the last 30 years. In the 1990s, the U.S. received 13 million new immigrants, and that number has been exceeded in the last decade. Never have there been so many people who have left their countries of origin to pursue economic opportunity around the world. And the U.S. has benefited tremendously from immigration. 21% of U.S. physicians are foreign-born. Large numbers of U.S. nurses are foreign-born. Without the infusion of that talent, the U.S. would have major shortages in some of its most critical health professions. 23% of U.S. PhDs are foreign-born. And 26% of U.S. patents, those innovative ideas pushing the U.S. economy forward, are coming from foreign-born individuals. But it's not just the numbers. It's also the patterns where people are coming from to the U.S., and that's changed dramatically. In the past, the majority of U.S. immigrants came from Western Europe. That's no longer true. Today, immigrants to the U.S. are truly coming from around the world. They're coming from Eastern Europe, China, India, the continent of Africa, Mexico, and South and Central America, making the concept of cultural competence a real skill in a global economy. Our best MBA programs today are teaching, guess what? They're teaching diversity skills. Do they call it that? No, they dress it up. They call it global business skills. But what they're teaching are diversity skills. They're teaching cross-cultural communication, cross-cultural marketing and sales, cross-cultural negotiation, cross-cultural conflict resolution, all diversity skills. And why? Because in a global economy, the ability to navigate difference is becoming the signature professional skill of the 21st century. That's megatrend number 2. Megatrend number 3 is new cultural influences, which are the direct result of immigration. The two that are most notable are religion and language. The fastest growing religion in the U.S. today is Islam. Now think about prayer and the legal requirements for accommodation in hospitals, schools, and workplaces. Think those differences may make a difference? And finally, language. Approximately 21% of Americans today do not speak English at home. Now, that doesn't mean they don't speak English. It means that in the comfort of their homes and their communities, they may speak a language other than English. In larger states like California, that percentage is greater than 40%. The United States today is more linguistically diverse than all of Western Europe. Now, any one of those demographic megatrends may raise our own unconscious bias. And bias is an interesting phenomenon. In fact, the study of bias has changed dramatically within the last 30 to 40 years. Unconscious bias gets its genesis from neuropsychological research, a big word for the study of the brain and how it works. In the past, bias was regarded as aberrant, conscious, and intentional. New scholarship suggested our biases are normative. We all have them, and they're largely unconscious and unintentional. However, if that is true, that would suggest that our biases are infinitely more dangerous than we ever imagined. They can act like computer viruses that can get beyond our best intellectual firewalls and do a tremendous amount of damage without our conscious intent. The research further suggests that there are four conditions that trigger or activate our bias. They are when we're under stress, time constraints, multitasking, trying to do many things at once, and a need for closure or decision-making. Sounds like any of your life experiences? I'm just saying. Well, one thing that we know, that there are major conditions that cause us to react to difference. And again, there are lots of differences that make a difference. I'd like to share with you a story, a geography story about difference and what difference can make. I'd like for you to pay particular attention to the significance of weather in this story. The English Channel, which is that body of water that separates southern England from northern France. It is 150 miles wide and 350 miles long. The shortest distance across the channel, which it's called, is roughly 21 miles. So, there was a swimmer who had practiced extensively to swim across the English Channel. And one day, he got the opportunity. And on this day, the weather, in fact, there was a boat to follow him along with his fans and friends and media reporters. And the weather on this particular day was absolutely atrocious. It was drizzling, overcast, and cloudy. However, the swimmer felt that he had practiced so diligently for this opportunity that he was not going to let a little bad weather prevent him from taking on this challenge. So the swimmer entered the water and began to swim and swim. And then suddenly, I should say, he stopped and he yelled to the boat, "I quit, take me out of the water." And his friends and fans on the boat said, No, don't quit, you're not that far away. And the swimmer yelled again, "I quit, take me out of the water." And they did. Now, totally distraught, the swimmer felt, "I know I can do this. All I need to do is improve my endurance. I know I can do it." And interesting enough, within less than a year, the swimmer got the opportunity to swim across the English Channel again. However, on this particular day, the weather was beautiful. Sunshine, blue skies, and visibility was perfect. So the swimmer entered the water and began to swim and swim. And when he got to the point where he quit the first time, this time he appeared to get stronger and faster and crossed the finish line. And as he walked out of the water, a reporter walked up to him and said, "Congratulations, you did it. You actually did it. But we noticed that when you got to the point where you quit the first time, this time you appeared to get faster and crossed the finish line. What was the difference between the first time and this time? What was the difference?" And the swimmer looked up and said, "On this beautiful sunny day, I could see the shore." Vision. 50 years ago, vision regarding difference may not have been clear, but today, a better understanding of difference is making the difference.